Hello, I'm Elizabeth Mackie, and I'm a professor in the art department, and I teach senior level classes and the fine art part of the art department. A number of years I've been working on issues relating to global warming, first starting with a number of projects about the Ortler mountain range and the glacier loss in that area. This led to a more recent project which focused on the Delaware River. The first project I did with that was for an exhibition called Flow that was on the boat basin in the Seaport Museum in Philadelphia. For this I did a large bodiless dress and collaborated with another person who did sound and a video piece to go with it. This piece was about the rising water levels. It was 9 feet tall. It represented the amount of water that was going to be in that area in a number of years. That also led to an exploration of microplastics, because originally I was going to put these microplastic sequins on the dress, and it just didn't work. So those round circles I carried around, which are these, I carried around for a year. And eventually, I applied for Muse, and with my two student assistants, Lily Gilston and Sarah Valente, we produced the piece that's here in the exhibition. So basically, this represents microplastics in the water, the hidden part that we don't see. We drink the water, don't think anything about what's the unseen parts and the problems with microplastics. I was also interested in this topic because I work a lot in fiber. People aren't aware when they're washing clothes that the fibers come out of the clothes and they go into the waterways, especially like in my case, thinking about the Delaware and the Schuylkill rivers. There's a large amount that go into the water, and once again, that's unseen. And that's all because of synthetics. Cottons would be fine because they would eventually deteriorate and, become part of nature. But synthetics live on forever. People are aware of plastic bottles because they see them along the waterways, but they're not aware of those extra contaminants that are actually in the water itself. Even though I have a lot of opportunities to exhibit outside of TCNJ, I really think it's important to exhibit here because, first of all, it's really important to show students the work you do. When you're encouraging them to be very professional about their own personal work, I think they need to know where you're coming from and what you're doing in terms of ideas and concepts, and also process. Secondly, I think it's important for the campus community and also for the Muse program to see what happens as a result of student collaboration with faculty. An important part of my work is process, and I think this particular piece also emphasizes the amount of work that's part of the production. In this case, there's 594 circles that have been laser etched. Basically, it took months to do this. Each panel of 9 circles takes at least an hour and a half to 2 hours to actually produce. That's not including the setup time. So the work has a lot of also handwork in it too. All the little circles have been assembled with jump rings, and that all has to be done by hand, and then they have to be soldered. And putting it up was quite a challenge as well. We had no idea if everything was going to hold because of the weight of the larger piece. Surprisingly, everything worked out quite well because we did a lot of pre-planning to make that happen. And that was all part of the Muse program. I've always been interested in environmental issues and very concerned about the climate. And I first started introducing this in my artwork in 2006 when I visited the Ortler mountain range in Italy, their small village Solden. And my first work actually was about a 100-year history of glacier loss on the mountains. And this sort of sparked everything. I started researching, contacting Swiss researchers who were working on the mountain range in the Alps. And I was in contact with a filmmaker who was also working on climate change in that area. I interviewed villagers, and it became a very big, long project that I worked on over a number of years, continuing to go back to the mountains, hiking the mountains, recording the kettle formation, which is the bodies of water that happen when the glaciers start to melt. They just get bigger and bigger. This sort of stimulated this whole interest, and it's just grown over the years.